Today we'll be speaking about sustainability within cryptos and how to decrease the energy consumption of blockchain projects. We'll be joined by one of the best NGOs to educate us on this matter, so keep watching. Today the topic is sustainability, and I want to ask you guys about how can we make things work between crypto and sustainability. I think it's an interesting subject as people talk a lot about crypto and point at crypto. They think that it's not sustainable, that it consumes a lot of energy. And as you guys are experts in this, I would like to know what you think. Can you maybe start with a few thoughts on this?
Sure. I mean, I think it's worth bearing in mind that every digital transaction that we do, whether it's on a Visa card or turning on Netflix, uses up energy of some sort. But obviously with crypto, it's got a lot of bad press, especially with the proof of work protocols and the energy intensity of the mining for that. But I think the crypto sector has been very, very quick to react and to make changes to it. And I think it will be going forward, it's going to be a critical part of the success or adaptation of crypto going forward.
Yeah, I think I'll add to that in the sense that we're trying to think about it a little bit more broadly. It's not crypto per se, it's Web3 and all of the encompassing technologies around that. And I think there are opportunities, like Frank said, there's constant evolution and innovation in that space. So there's new ways of minting and mining coins that aren't necessarily as energy intensive as they were maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, I think this is actually exactly what you guys do, is educating people on all of what you just said. So maybe you can tell us, what is Chamonix Crypto? What is your vision?
Chamonix Crypto came together as a bunch of people, of expats living in Chamonix from 9 different backgrounds. We met because of a love or interest in crypto. And we met initially for going for a drink and a meetup every few weeks.
Nice.
And it developed into organising some summits and conferences, which we've done last December. On the other side of that, we, apart from just the crypto, we're obviously very aware of the fact, living in a place like Chamonix, of the environmental sustainability problems. And so we decided to try and see how crypto and Web3 could be part of the solution and not just part of the problem, which is how it's perceived a little bit now.
So as you said, Anthony, one of our main goals is to educate. And that is, again, focusing on Web3 and the many different facets of that and how it can potentially be used for environmental and social good. So, for example, how could you potentially leverage an NFT as maybe a fundraising mechanism that can raise funds to then support air pollution cleanup in the valley, for example. I think for us, it's really important to focus on Sharmony and understand use cases that are happening around the world from different fundraising organizations, but how do we kind of bring those back to the valley and make a change?
I was about to ask you guys about the next conference, because you mentioned that you had a conference in December. You have another one in, next December, which is named Web3 Beyond, the hype for social and environmental good. So yeah, I was about to ask why this name, why is it important? But you guys pretty much answered. Do you want to add something?
I guess we want to see ourselves at the intersection of Web3, crypto and sustainability. And that's where we'd like to focus all our efforts going forward and to become, in our own way, experts in that sphere, and in some ways maybe a reference point for other people who'd like to do the same in different communities, if it's not in Chamonix, but could be in Zermatt or in any other community, because we're all facing the same issues. And I think that's where we would like to concentrate our resources in there.
How do you think we can shape a sustainable metaverse and reach the climate goals?
I think, again, it's over time there's going to be better ways of running the metaverse. So the technologies that are used for the metaverse will hopefully be coming from more environmentally sound sources of energy. Frank's pretty familiar with ways that you can leverage off gases, for example, from oil fields and flares. And how do we continue to evolve along those lines, like using what's existing already and transforming that into a better way to create energy that's going to kind of fuel the technologies that underlie the creation and maintenance of the metaverse.
I think as well it's going to be a key component of the uptake of crypto and Web3, because if it's not sustainable, it's not going to happen, because the
Yeah.
crypto community tends to be a younger community, and they're very, very aware of what's happening with the environment. And if it's deemed to be hugely energy intensive, as it is perceived to be right now, it's not going to have the uptake that it needs. So it needs to be addressed now, and it needs to be improved going forward.
Do you think we should give a sustainable label to crypto companies? This is something that we already do with food, with different products. It could be like a central authority that says, okay, they tick everything that we want in a crypto, so we give them the label. It could build trust with customers.
Sure, I think that's a very good idea. I think it depends who's giving the label. I mean, that's the key part of it. I'm obviously very involved with the kind of the financial community, and ESG is a big part of everything that happens in that area right now. And you can greenwash so many things by sticking a label on it. And some of the funds
Absolutely.
I look at have, they invest in oil exploration, they invest in airlines, and they have an ESG fund. So I think it's very important. It would be a good idea to do it, but I think it's very important that it's objective, whoever's going to be doing the labeling or the rating of it.
Yeah, that there's whomever establishes the rating, that they are trusted, and again, it's not some made-up label for the sake of having a label, right? To say that, oh yeah, we're sustainably mining or we're sustainably minting.
I definitely agree on that. There can be lots of greenwashing, and that's something
Sure.
we obviously want to avoid. Something that I was thinking about today is, can we find a balance between security and sustainability? Because we all know how Bitcoin works. Bitcoin right now is the number one crypto. It's the most trusted one. And nowadays there are like smaller cryptos that come on the market that say that they have a new technology that is amazing and much more sustainable. But can we trust them? Can we trust them as much as we trust Bitcoin right now?
Yeah, I think the technology is there already. It's a question of implementation. We see the new protocols like Solana and Cardano, you can already do that with. Bitcoin will always be Bitcoin. I don't think that's going to change. But I think going forward, the new coins and tokens that come along will not have the same energy needs. I don't think they can do, because it won't be a scalable technology if they do that. But I think we touched on earlier with Dogecoin and some of the other coins that are already using proof of work, but because haven't reached Bitcoin valuations, they don't have the same energy requirements. Not every protocol will need the same security requirements either, because a lot of these coins will be used for gaming, or they'll be used for carbon offsets or what have you, and it's not necessarily talking about billion-dollar transactions. So the security will be there for what it's needed for.
Web3 mean for Chamonix Crypto?
I think for us, as I said before, we're kind of looking at the various aspects of Web3 and how we can potentially using it for fundraising being one potential use case. But I think we're also trying to think about how does that work almost in real life, right? Not necessarily as a digital asset, but some kind of hybrid asset. So in Chamonix Valley, we obviously have a lot of tourists. So one potential use case could be having an NFT-like device, almost like a loyalty object. So if you're coming to the Valley regularly, you get certain benefits, but in purchasing that NFT, you're also kind of contributing to the fundraising ecosystem and contributing to potentially either investing in social good projects or environmental projects, right? So for us, there's a direct reality, which is the mer de glace, for example, like the glaciers are shrinking.
Yeah.
There's obviously a pollution problem in the valley, which, again, there's a lot of work being done to try and solve that. But how do we kind of continually contribute to that, make people who are coming to the valley on a regular basis also be able to contribute to that? So I think Web3 can help us with that. Again, right now, and we were talking a little bit earlier about audiences in the back room, and I think there's a small audience that's aware of how these technologies can help contribute to environment and social good. And that is one of the reasons that we kind of got together and thought we can kind of make a broader case and get more people involved and understanding how it can be of benefit. So I think that's how it kind of relates to us.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we were to do an NFT or a coin drop, you would get extra access that you might not have if you were just a regular tourist in Chamonix. So it would open up different avenues of exploration in Chamonix that you might not normally have. I think also with Web3, one of the things me and Fiona have been talking about is that I think we all want Web3 to deliver on the promises that it could have.
Yeah.
But it needs to be defined, I think, a little bit in advance, because it's like we spoke about greenwashing a few minutes ago. Everything could get the Web3 label without actually having any difference over Web2. So I think we would want to make sure that what we're doing, it goes to the right ideals, goes to the proper ideals of Web3, which is a bit more inclusive for everybody, and it's not just siloed information by 4 or 5 or 6 big institutions.
Yeah, talking about those institutions, I know you're a private wealth consultant. Do you think they are catching up on crypto and sustainability?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think they're not driving the change themselves, because they have a model that's been working very well for the last 150 years. So they're not driving it, but they have to respond to customer demands. And the customers, especially the younger ones with the family offices, you see the younger generation of the family coming in, and they want an exposure to cryptocurrencies, NFTs. They want to know more about it. They're concerned about it, and they're also concerned about sustainability in the environment. So the two tie hand in hand. So they have to go down this road of looking at them, being curious about it. Some of the institutions are a lot more progressive, and they really want to get ahead of the curve. Some of them can't for regulatory reasons, so they're a little bit hampered. But it's inevitable. As a change is coming, and I think they have to deal with it in the best way they can. I think Switzerland is actually quite well placed, because there's a certain regulatory framework around crypto in Switzerland, which is not present in other countries at the moment.
Yeah, what you were telling me earlier is that it is driven by the customers. Mm-hmm. That's very important, because they want the change. These institutions are just like following the trends. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I agree entirely. They don't really want to move away from a model that's been working very well for them. But they have to, because the customers are going to find out. There's some of the newer banks like Signum and Seba Bank, they're going to take such a big market share from the incumbent banks if they don't change. So they're going to have to move with the times. It's like any other industry, effectively.
Maybe a question more towards you, because I know you're big into digital marketing, and you work with different Web3 projects. Is the marketing for Web3 projects or like other projects different?
So it's funny, I was talking about this with a colleague recently, and it's a little bit of a joke. So we're doing a lot of marketing for Web3 and Web2 forums, right? Yeah. So, and I think that talks to, there's a core audience in the Web3 and crypto space who are having discussions in Discord. But for example, Discord is actually really a Web2 platform, right? It's not like we are all sitting in the metaverse having these conversations. So I think in order to drive adoption, there's a lot of communication that still needs to happen through what I would call kind of traditional digital channels. So there's Twitter communities, obviously there's Facebook communities, email newsletters still kind of being pretty useful for customers who are trying to help their existing constituents and audiences understand what the benefits are of these new technologies. So I think a lot of it is still the same. Understand your audience, communicate in a way that is meaningful to them in the places where they are showing up today.
I think the audiences in crypto are very different from others. I ask myself if we'll ever be able to get serious on sustainability, as sometimes I feel like the crypto audience is just like trolling on certain things, like, Dogecoin is like a troll coin, if that makes sense. And there's like different things in crypto happening like that, of just people wanting to troll and do different things. I'm wondering if we'll ever be able to get serious and say, okay, now we are shaping the future with Web3, and we need to make it sense with sustainability, and we need to convince also other people that don't believe that crypto can really make a big difference on all the climate goals.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I think we have to remember, well, one, I think we're early adopters. We're in the space today and have experience in that space. So two, I think is the sort of time, as time goes by and people become more familiar, more comfortable, and then you just get greater numbers of use cases within that space, that people think of different ways to try out the technologies for social good, environmental good, and there will be a demand, as we just talked about, coming from those people who are not necessarily trying to make a fast buck or troll, but have a little bit more of a do-good kind of value set coming to the table, and there will be a shift over time.
I think as well with Web3 we have to be careful that if the kings of Web3 at the moment seem to be the Jack Dorseys and the Mark Zuckerbergs, and I think if the people, the kings of Web2 are going to be shaping Web3, we're not going to have a different outcome.
Okay,
so I think
yeah,
we really
that's
need
interesting.
to see where we're going to go with this. And I think right now it's possibly been shaped in the wrong way with certain people.
Okay, I see what you're saying. There needs to be a change of leadership. Like right now, it's like the big guys are trying to catch on the crypto trends, and it's like, okay, no, we're the crypto community, and we decide, and we do not want like all the big guys.
Yeah.
I don't think Mark Zuckerberg is incentivized to make Web3 more egalitarian, or so I think that needs to be borne in mind going forward, that we need to have the right values for it.
Yeah, and I think it sounds in a way ridiculous that in order to have decentralization, you're going to have regulation. But I think to an extent, there needs to be some level of regulation to ensure that the principles of Web3 remain true, and that it's not taken over by those who don't necessarily want it to be that way.
Why did you guys choose Chamonix?
We all live in Chamonix. We live there. Okay. So we work in Geneva and various other places, but we all live in Chamonix. We've all come from different parts of the world.
It's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Do you ski a lot there?
Ski a lot, not as much as I'd like, but I ski a lot. Fiona's probably the same.
I've definitely skied more this winter, which has been great. And I think one thing about Chamonix though is it is a very global place. There's people there from all over the world, and I think that's what makes it kind of inspiring and why we all came together. Like everyone's coming from a different background, a different point of view, but we're all super excited and involved in what Web3 crypto, blockchain, NFTs, DAOs, and so on can kind of bring to the valley and bring to our community. Okay, great. Well, thank you very much for joining me today to answer some questions that I had over sustainability. It was a pleasure to talk with you.
Pleasure's ours.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah.